Airport terminal, Africa style. A little bit too rustic for my taste. Where's the air-conditioned bar and duty-free shop? I should maybe give it a test.
Come, gather round, and have the piss taken out of you by a crazy lady with a megaphone.
Ooh, I like it. Lemonade. Sweet as shit and warm to boot. But even ice cold, it's not an option. If I want to avoid doing my figure some real harm. Well, okay, I'll take it with me. But be aware that this is non-alcoholic piss water. Hey, Dixie. Now what would those Southerners say if they knew there was a mobile toilet named after their hymn? Holy shit. If a dead fish and a tramp had a baby and the baby threw up into a dog's mouth, the dog's end product would smell better than this toilet does. Even if I had to, I would not go in there. Hell, they've seen better days. Now then, any juice left in these at all? It's certainly seen better days. Yarr! Sorry. It's screwed tightly to the column. The pocket knife only has this one blade, but it's extremely versatile. I can unscrew screws with it, for example. Large scratches torn into the wood. Must have been something considerably bigger than the cat over there. Sits around all day. Probably shows up for food and fondling. Men. Looks like a reliable enough contraption. It clamps 2 ropes together. Okay, I've caressed the screws. Now what? Crates of provisions. Well, I'm not gonna starve to death here, that's for sure. I'm not that hungry yet. Just 2 admittedly unfortunate words. Cat allergy. The camp lies northeast from here. That's where we want to be headed. Where's that perverse stink coming from? Oh, right. Pumbaa. They may be cute in cartoon form, but in the real world, those warthog tusks should not be underestimated. Okay, away we go. Sing Hakuna Matata for me, then! Since we don't know each other all that well, I'm gonna be keeping my distance, okay? Great. He seems to be quite unaffected. I guess that act's only good for scaring off lechers in bars. And here's me thinking I had the act down pat. I suppose compared to most men, this pig is smart enough to tell the real thing from a crazy lady making cat noises in the jungle. Hello, Mr. Kitty. How about an interview? Thank you for the profound discussion. I'll change the batteries. I'll hold the megaphone close to the voice recorder speaker. Perhaps the pig's got a cat allergy as well. Success. I don't need a walking stick quite yet, but hey, you never know. Straight and long. Could be useful. Ants. I must have scared him up. I can't get at them with my bare hands. Just like in the adventure movies. So, what do we have? Great. The guide rope on the right-hand side of the bridge is broken. That's all I need. I can't get across with it like that. I need to repair the rope first. A prime example of a professional bodge job. Unfortunately, I can't do much here with just my bare hands. Other than strangle people with dumb ideas. There's a tool bag hanging down there. I hope nobody left it there when they took the express route to the bottom. Nudge the bag into the abyss? I might still need it. If I'm going to attach the hook to the branch, I'm going to need something more substantial than my iron will. I'll pull out a thread. In fact, this cap is such a waste of space, I'll throw the rest away. Looks like a rod, with neither a hook nor bait. One long hook thing coming right up. Come to mama. Well, what have we got here then? A typical pocket tape measure. The wrench fits. Now, let's just hope the mast doesn't fall when I remove the connector. How about that? Rope connector gone, mast still standing. A woman needs a little luck sometimes. Let's see. This can't be all that difficult. Perhaps I ought to try it in the right sequence. That ought to hold. Unfortunately, I can't do much here with just my bare hands, other than strangle people with dumb ideas. I'm supposed to completely destroy this delicate bond with the wrench? I'd rather not. Whoa, what a mess. Who did this? Hello? Professor Hartman? Strange. No one here. What the hell happened? I ought to take a look around. A four-legged stand. It's a motion sensor. The working range of this sensor is 160 degrees. There's a fireplace here, but it's stone cold. Won't be attracting much interest on the local real estate market. Trespassing here is not prohibited, just impossible. Dry wood. Should burn well. The floorboards look pretty rotten. A pipe. That's all I have to say about that. What I'd really like to know is what threw this great big locker all over the place. Feels kind of locked. This winch holds the crate hanging from the cable. Interesting storage method. That's how you keep your grub away from the hungry fauna. The crank is missing. The wrench fits, but I don't have enough muscle power. The winch isn't moving an inch. The wrench fits inside the pipe. The laws of leverage are your friends. My favorite occupation, plundering. Mostly fruit and veg. I'll leave that here and take everything else. This sensor has a working range of 75 degrees. The mobile solar charger has to be assembled before it can be used. It fits. A first aid box. How useful. A letter? Another movement sensor. A laptop for outdoor use. Fully ruggedized. Well, it survived whatever hit the hut completely unscathed. According to the sticker, that's Professor Hartman's laptop. Sadly, though, the battery's flat. According to the sticker, that's Professor Hartman's laptop. Bearing in mind I don't like puzzles, I've rather nailed that one, haven't I? I'll connect the solar charger to the laptop. So, the solar charger is now connected to the laptop. Now all that's missing is some sunshine. I'll put the laptop and the solar charger here in the sun. Ugh, the laptop's protected by a code. A strip of adhesive tape. Might leave a scratch, but the ends justify the means. Is that just the manufacturer's logo? It looks like wedding bands or something. The professor received this letter from his wife on their wedding anniversary. Turns out married, middle-aged people have very little of interest to say to one another. No saved mail. And if I was going to send or receive any, then I'd also need an internet connection. Looks like some kind of diary. Sounds promising. Viruses that are responsible for evolutionary leaps? That story would be an absolute scoop. Now, is there any truth to these ghost stories? Shit. Looks like it's quite possible they're close by here. I need to be careful. At least I now know where I can find the professor. Only now all that's missing is any clue to where this Christian mission is. This is where Hartman saved the pictorial info from the current expedition. Even the most ambitious scientist has to switch off every now and then. Can't wait to see what kind of music the prof's into. No forecast without the internet. And I don't need a laptop to see how the weather is right now. The map of the camp. A map of the region to the south of the Basumtwi. Aha! That over there to the west has to be the mission that Hartman wrote about in his notes. It doesn't make sense to set off for the mission now. I don't want to be wandering about in the jungle after dark. I'll spend the night here in the camp. Chasing after our scientists will have to wait until tomorrow. I'll set up the motion sensors and build a nice big fire to keep the beasties at bay. This sensor has a working range of 75 degrees. This sensor has a working range of 120 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. This sensor has a working range of 120 degrees. A sensor with a working range of 90 degrees. This sensor has a working range of 75 degrees. This sensor has a working range of 120 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. This sensor has a working range of 75 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. A sensor with a working range of 90 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. On the sensor it says working range 90 degrees. I'll check the first aid kit. A sleeping bag. Cuddly, warm, but also an accurate description of my ex-boyfriend. The working range of this sensor is 160 degrees. I'm thinking that the sensor belongs on top of the stand. Looks like the sensors are set up according to plan. Now I ought to make a fire. It'll keep me safe tonight, from the cold and whatever else is out there. Let's get cozy. There. All done. Now I'm gonna get some shut-eye. And in the morning, I'll head to the mission and track down this research team. What are they? Animals? Nasty. I need to scare them off somehow.